Everyone who watches Bluey has so much fun that they don't even notice the weird things happening in the Healer family's adventures. Have you ever spotted some completely strange or even mysterious moments in the Blue Pup show? Bandit's job is a mystery to all Bluey fans because nothing about his work routine makes any sense. Bluey's dad is an archaeologist. The show's creators chose this profession as a reference to how dogs love to bury things, especially bones. But what doesn't make sense is how much free time Mr. Healer has to play with his daughters. In the episode Yoga Ball, we see that he actually needs time to handle important work-related matters. Plus, in Curry Quest, we learn that Bandit has to travel occasionally. But it still doesn't add up that he has so much free time, especially considering we're talking about a famous, award-winning archaeologist like Bandit. In the mini-episode Archaeology, Marcus, Honey's dad, introduces Bluey's dad as Dr. Healer. This means Bandit studied a lot to earn the recognition he has today, and it also suggests that he should be working a lot. We know it's just a cartoon, but still, it's strange. What's totally normal though is that you're about to see 13 things that don't make sense in Bluey. Grab your popcorn because Cinewave is starting now. Does it make any sense to you that Snicker's mom was at Frisky's wedding, but Wendy wasn't? Let's talk about this carefully because it could be a sensitive topic. At the end of season 3, when Uncle Radley and Frisky got married, we noticed that some characters were missing. Of course, Bluey's godmother doesn't have to invite everyone. At such a special event, it's common to only invite the closest people. But it's really weird that Wendy wasn't invited, especially since she and Frisky must have known each other for a long time, and the show never really explained her connection to Uncle Radley and Snicker's mom. Also, Wendy appears at the end of the episode, kicking Uncle Stripe out of the bush in her yard. Maybe she was upset about not being invited? Or maybe she did get an invite but didn't attend for some reason. Could Judo have been sick? That would make even less sense, because Snickers doesn't show up at Calypso School in this episode either, and many fans think he wasn't feeling well. In the episode The Sign, we find out that Bandit called an old friend, well, actually an old enemy, to help sell the Healer house. Bucky Dustin was Bandit's schoolmate, and Bluey's dad never liked him because he was the reason Bandit stopped drawing cars. In the episode Dragon, when the Healer family is painting and creating a big magical adventure, Bluey casts a memory spell on her dad. That's when she finds out that Bandit used to love drawing cars until Bucky Dustin told him that none of his drawings looked like real cars. After that, Bandit gave up on drawing altogether, and he never really got over this, because when Bucky shows up, Bluey's dad looks visibly uncomfortable. Maybe Bandit asked for help from someone he didn't like because, deep down, he never really intended to go through with the sale. He only made his decision at the last moment. Uncle Radley doesn't look like anyone in the family, and that makes no sense at all. If you check Bluey's official website, you'll see that Uncle Radley is a mix of Blue Healer and Red Healer. Technically, it's the same dog breed, but did you know that the red coat is actually the more common one? That means that when a Blue Healer has puppies with a Red Healer, it's more likely that the puppies will be red. Bluey herself is already an exception to this rule. But here's the thing, Grandpa Bob and Grandma Chris are both blue dogs, so the big question is, where did Uncle Radley's mixed color fur come from? There are two possible explanations. Either Grandma Chris had a relationship before marrying Bob, or Radley was adopted. There's nothing stopping a couple that can have kids from adopting a pup who needs a family. The theory is still alive. But if Bandit's older brother is actually Bob and Chris's biological son, then that's pretty weird. Do you look like your parents? Comment #family so we can get to know each other. One of the weirdest things about the Healers selling their house is that Chilli also has a job. Bluey's mom works in airport security at Brisbane, which means that if they moved, she would have to quit. But wait, does that even make sense? Chilli doesn't like her boss, and we've known this since the very first episode, Magic Xylophone, when she said she'd love to freeze him.
I'll freeze my boss.
So that means she'd be happy to leave her job, right? Wrong! Chilli admits that she didn't want to move away from Brisbane, meaning quitting her job wasn't really an option for her. It doesn't make sense that the Healers would have to move far away and that Chilli would quit, only to have to find another job again later. But maybe she actually did decide to leave, and in season 4, we'll see Bluey's mom with a brand new career. In episode 50 of season 2, Bluey and Bingo are taking a bath when Chilli tells them to get out of the tub. The sisters don't want to stop playing, and Bandit is reading a book on parenting and doesn't force them to do anything they don't want to. The episode goes on with Bluey tricking Bandit so they can keep playing until the water gets super cold and the sisters almost catch a cold. That doesn't sound like Bandit and Chilli at all. They're fun parents, but they're also really responsible. Leaving the pups in cold water like that could have made them sick. Of course, that's not how the episode ends, but still, it's pretty weird that Bandit lets something that risky happen. Have you ever noticed that Pat, better known as Lucky's dad, always joins in on the kids' games without hesitation? That makes him one of the best neighbors the Healers could have, but does it really make sense? In the episode Feather Wand, Bingo is playing a game where a bird's feather makes everything heavy, and the whole family has to pretend the magic is real. But Lucky's dad, who's just a neighbor and didn't have to join in, ends up playing along anyway. In the episode Magic, he has to go along with the idea that Bingo and Bluey have superpowers, and in this case, that means even putting a rose in his mouth and waltzing with Bandit. Then in Magic Asparagus, he doesn't even get mad when Chilli and Bingo attack and bite him. We could say that Pat is just a great friend to the Healer family, which is why he always joins their games, but even so, it doesn't make much sense for him to go through so much chaos just to entertain his son's friends. When Grandpa Bob disappeared, most fans thought, unfortunately, that the Healer family had lost a member and that Grandma was now a widow. But at the end of season 3, we find out that he actually traveled to India because he wanted to find himself. The weird part? His granddaughters had no idea he had traveled so far, or why he left in the first place. Sure, Bluey, Bingo, Muffin, and Socks are pretty young to understand that kind of thing, but still, it's odd that they didn't even know he had gone away. Almost like the Healers don't talk to each other. That's so strange. And that's why you need to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, so we can always stay connected. In the episode Helicopter, when Bluey is pretending that a tree stump is a helicopter cockpit, something really weird and confusing happens with Winton. Bluey is giving her friend a ride in the imaginary helicopter when he asks to be dropped off at a place he calls my dad's house, meaning it's where Cornelius lives, but not Winton. We know Winton's parents are divorced, but the confusing part is that his words make it seem like he lives with his mom, but she's never appeared in the show. Cornelius is the only member of Winton's family we've seen, and the show doesn't seem interested in introducing his mom. That's weird. Could we finally meet her in season 4? What if we told you that Grandma Chris is kinda bald? If you watch Fairy Tale again and pay attention to Bandit's mom's hair, you'll see that she used to have a completely different hairstyle. That look was definitely trendy back in the 80s, and yeah, we get that her fur color makes sense. Grandma has a dark blue patch on her head. But still, it's weird that she cut off all that hair and left it super short. Maybe calling her bald is a bit of an exaggeration, but if you compare her to Judo and Wendy, you'll see that her fur used to be long, and she chopped it down so much that it's hard to believe Bandit's mom ever looked different. If she liked having long fur, wouldn't it make much more sense to keep that hairstyle? Did Grandma regret cutting it all off? In Double Babysitter, something that doesn't make much sense happens. Unless you catch on to the trick that Chilli pulled to set up her friend Frisky with a boyfriend. She knew Uncle Radley worked a lot and didn't have much free time. So, that day, Chilli knew Bandit's brother was available and didn't actually need Frisky to babysit the pups. And that's the weird part. Chilli pretended she didn't know anything because she was secretly planning to set them up.
Oh, now I see.
In the episode where Lucky's dad changes the rules of Pass the Parcel, something super weird happens without us even realizing. A whole year goes by. After the game rules change, we see some posters about the party on the pup's fridge, but the strange part is that Buddy and Jasper's birthday seem to be swapped. We can clearly see that Jasper's birthday is on December 14th, which is in the last month of the year. But his party happens before Buddy's, even though Buddy's birthday is on November 12th. That's super weird, because the only way this could make sense is if an entire year had passed in just one episode. There's no way the creators would make such a big time jump, especially since so many things happened, and they wouldn't miss the chance to show them. So yeah, this was definitely a weird mistake. Even weirder was Chloe's birthday party in Feather Wand. In this episode, Chilli says the address is number 26, but in Octopus, we clearly see that the Dalmatian's house is at number 101. Was this a mistake? And it gets even stranger when you realize Chloe only invited 7 friends to her party. That makes us think her family didn't rent out a party venue, because who would spend money on a venue for just 7 guests? You know who has way more than 7 friends? Our channel, and one of them is you. That's why we picked out 2 more videos for you to enjoy. See you in the next one.